right, guys, joining me at this time is a very special guest of mine, my very own Lucero BJJ teammate, Dario, the dude Castillo. Dario has a fight this weekend in Billings, Montana, Fusion Fight League. The opponent is Nick Grammons. It is round one of the Fusion Fight League Rising Stars middleweight tournament. At the end of the tournament is a beautiful 3-fight contract and an opportunity at their middleweight champion. Dario, round one is Nick. Man, how do you feel about this opportunity?
Dude, it's amazing. Long time coming. I mean, we've been searching for fights for
high and low.
Yeah, seriously, anywhere, anybody, and it's just crazy how everything fell together. We were putting in all this effort trying to get things lined up and, asking professor, do we go pro? Like, what's it looking? He's like, pass the least resistance. And so I was like, all right, prayed about it. Literally next day I'm sitting at your kitchen table and swiping through, figuring out how we're going to figure this out. And next thing you know, pops up on Facebook, Fusion Fight League, looking for 2 middleweights, And what's crazy is that most other divisions, it's a chance at the title. Yeah. This one's a vacant title. So it's like, before I turned pro, I always wanted a title. I always, wanted to get a solid win streak going, at least, 3 wins. And it's like, now here's that perfect opportunity, plus a chance to make some decent cash as starting off as a pro. So it's like, man, way more than what I ever even asked or thought or could imagine. And so it's super exciting. He's a game opponent, 3-0, and so should be fun.
Nick Grammons, he's won all 3 of his fights by finish. How do you plan on dealing with somebody who's so explosive like that? Obviously, you've seen he goes in there and he puts a lot of pressure on guys. How do you plan on dealing with that?
Well, I've had so much experience, living as close as we do to Vegas and being able to cross train with all these other pro fighters and everything like that. And it's like, I know that I have everything it takes in the gym. It's just been all about what does game day look like, And so thankfully I have the right people in my corner. I give a lot of credit to my mental coach, Dom, the hypnotist. You can find him all over social media and whatnot. And he's helped kind of like finally, take down that divide between me in the gym and me and, performing under pressure. And this fight has felt way more like, it feels like a dream almost. I almost can't even believe that I'm fighting this weekend. It's like, wow, I'm way too calm for this. Like I'm so much more confident. Whereas in the past, it's been like a stress of like, oh, I got to get this done. Oh, like, what about this, and this? And like constantly nitpicking. Whereas now I'm just like able to sit back and go, ooh, okay, like, here we go. All
this
right.
is what it's supposed to be like. Would you credit that calmness to working with Dom?
Absolutely. Because there was so much like negativity biases and certain things, like how a lot of people say, hey, be prepared for worst case scenario. Forget all of that. I'm so focused on producing successful results that even under the worst case scenario, I will get so much further and so much closer to my target being focused with this positivity bias as opposed to how I ever would with a negativity bias. It's like that example I use all the time. If I tell you, don't think about a red car, what's the first thing you think about? Red car. Exactly. So instead, it's like everything's just driven on what do I need to do to have the positive result that I'm getting all the time in training? I'm able to work with guys like Shane Mapatis, heavyweight, #1 in the West Coast, somebody who can put that kind of pressure on me. And then working with somebody like Christian, who's like a nonstop freaking Tasmanian devil, just a savage.
Fast.
Seriously. And so it's like with everybody who's been in my corner and all the other guys I've been able to cross train with, like over at Wind and Syndicate, it's like, I doubt this guy's going to be able to give me anything I haven't already dealt with,
No, for sure. Now you talk about cross training, and you've heard fighters talk about how important it is to go pick from different minds. I mean, obviously you have your home at Lucero. A professor is your man. You're not going to go away from that. But to always have those, little side notes that you could always pick on to work with. How is that for you?
Oh, it's a must, and what's crazy is for how little I actually train, like the Muay Thai aspect and all that stuff. I'm going to these other gyms and they're like, man, how many pro fights you got? I'm like, I'm Amy. And they're looking at me like, what? And so it's like, it's incredibly, encouraging. And I also give a lot of credit to my boxing coaches over at Mojave Valley Boxing Club and Coach Tommy Ramirez and Coach Rick Bingham. Like, those guys have helped me find that switch so that it's like, all right, you know what, I don't have to get emotional, but I can give it everything I got and not have to have that reserve as much as what I've had in the past. That's just it. Like, everything leading up to this, I feel like has just been equipping me, slowly putting each piece of the armor together to where it's like, I feel like no matter who they're going to put in front of me, that I'm going to come out with the W.
So when you look at the whole picture, that is Dario the Dude Castillo. You said Coach Bingham, you have Coach Tony, you obviously have, our Master Splinter, Professor Lucero. Was Dom kind of that missing piece to get you over the hump? Because these guys clearly had you ready physically, but is Dom that missing piece that really helps you drive it mentally as well?
Absolutely. Because like growing up, my father had always put as a perspective in mind that it was like, you know what, if you're going to do something, you need a full send and make sure you have every piece of the puzzle in line. And I really felt like I had that. As far as the physical aspect, I've always been in shape, I've always, I'm never out of camp. Year round, I'm training, you see me all the time, And so it's like my diet rarely ever strays off. All these things, it's like, has been, super tight, but it's always been like I show up and there's like one little thing out of place. This was out of place. That was out of place. And so it's like, after the last fight that I had, it was just like the main thing that I noticed that was a consistent factor from each fight was mentality. Getting super irritable within myself, constantly nitpicking myself, and just being a harsh critic. It's good to trim the excess, but if you overgroom the bonsai tree, you're going to stunt the growth and possibly kill it. And so I was killing myself out before I got up to bat, and so now I feel like everything, like I don't even feel pressure. I feel like I'm exuding pressure and it's driving me forward, Even with this weight cut, it's been super easy, started off at 215, woke up this morning at 190, got down as low as 188. And right now after eating, I was at 191. So still digesting everything. Like everything's just been perfectly falling into place. It's surreal, honestly. And I feel like Dom has definitely played a huge part in all of that and really just gearing me towards being on my own team,
It's been roughly 15 months since you actually stepped inside the cage. What did you take from your last loss?
You can't force it. That whole fight I was trying to force. Like originally I was trying to fight for that Axe Fighting promotion, and they had another guy lined up in which I was trying to get in there with. And I mean, he was seasoned and everything like that. I definitely feel like it was a fight I was more keen to win. And then I wound up being paired with Michael McCauley, who he's a total stud. He stepped up from welterweight to fight me at 180. And so it was a little bit of a different experience. He was a very different body type and super long legs, super fast, great kickboxing, and I really downplayed his jiu-jitsu big time. And so I made a lot of mistakes. I was very emotional going in. And so it's like, with me coming away from that, I knew that I trained enough. I knew that I had all the right tools, but mentally I was a complete and total mess.
And
so
that's when you reached out to Dom?
Oh yeah. That's immediately what everybody was telling me before that is like, hey, don't forget the mental aspect. Like perhaps you should look into this. I'm a huge fan of Mike Tyson and Cus D'Amato, and Cus D'Amato was actually a hypnotist as well. Used to have Tyson hypnotize multiple times before he would go into fights and stuff like that. And so finally I reached out to Dom because I knew he had worked with some other guys like Julian Marquez and Khalil Roundtree, Eric Anders. And so it's like, after seeing the kind of metamorphosis that they were able to undergo, I was like, what's it gonna hurt? I was total skeptic. I thought that it was all just a bunch of hoopla, like it was nonsense. Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1, you're a chicken, But whenever I actually got to speak
No
with
clucking
Dom,
here.
yeah, he wasn't clucking around, And so it's like to be able to pick his brain and then also find out that he's a jiu-jitsu practitioner as well. He trains at 10th Planet out in Vegas. He's a purple belt under them, and so it's like it was really interesting. He really intrigued me off Jump Street in his approach and how personable he was without actually trying to like intervene into my mind. He helped kind of set it to where it was like he helped separate out the multiple layers of my own consciousness and get everybody on the same page and realize what the root of the issues were and then replace it with much better, And so the power of suggestion's definitely a thing. And the benefits that I've reaped from it since then have been irreplaceable. Like you can't put a price tag on that.
Now, with all that, encompassing of the person that you are today, what can Nick Grammons expect here on Saturday night?
He can expect anytime he makes a mistake, he's going to pay for it. Be it on the ground, be it standing, whatever it is. Like, I just feel he's going to hand me my win condition because, like, I know I can take a shot. I know I can give a shot. And the fighter that I was a year ago couldn't even stand with me today. I know I've said that before, but that just goes to testament of how much better I've gotten in the gym, let alone what I'm going to look like performing whenever I'm actually on my own team for once,
Yeah.
And so I felt like all this time the real issue has been up here, and finally that's gone. And I know how to hit my switch now, so it's like I feel like it's going to be a good fight. As always, every fight I've been in has been exciting. It's going to be competitive, but ultimately, I see a win in either the first or second. If it makes it to the third, I'll be very surprised. But even then, I'm always ready to go the distance, no matter what. I don't tap. I don't give up. I'm going for broke every time.
Obviously, this is just stop one of this tournament. You have two other stops before you get that contract. Looking ahead, you have guys who are 1-0 on both sides, one from Extreme Couture, one from Billings. And then when you look on the other side of the bracket, there's some more seasoned fighters over there. Have you kind of been sizing up the other 6 competitors?
Not at all. It's in my mind, it's completely irrelevant. Like at that point in time, I'm just wasting energy on other things. Whereas right now, everything has been about being present. Because before I used to try and overthink, oh, what am I going to do like a month from now? What's the next step after this fight? Blah, 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 blah. That's all irrelevant. Like just embrace the path, embrace the journey and celebrate it. Life is too short to be focused on what may or may not be. Until it's here, I'm not going to worry about it. I know this is going to be a huge opportunity and a huge event. Everybody who's competing in this must be feeling like they're ready to turn pro. Otherwise they wouldn't be looking to pursue such an awesome reward at the end of the tunnel. And so I know I'm in right where I need to be. That's the main thing. I'm right where I need to be.
You were sharing this card with your friend Johnson Nassaro, who's on the main event. How do you feel about that?
Ecstatic. I've seen Johnson fight quite a few times. I've had the privilege of being backstage with him and training with him quite a few times. And the kid's a phenom, like for real. Like the dude's so gifted, so incredibly humble, incredibly smart.
Yes.
He's got a decorated past of, so many trials and tribulations that he's overcame, and he conducts himself like a champion. I'm not going to be surprised that after he wins this fight, like literally, like he's inspired me in so much and has helped elevate my game in ways that it's like I can never thank the dude enough. He's a real star in the making.
100%. I have to agree with you on that one. I said it when I was interviewing him. I honestly think that he's probably one of the most talented, if not the most talented amateurs I've ever had the pleasure of interviewing. The kid's a stud. I mean, like I said, I lightly sparred with the guy for 3 minutes, and I felt like I was gonna die every second of it. And he was throwing it like 20%.
And that's just it. Like he's so in tune with himself that it's like he's just able to enjoy himself in the heat of battle, and that's something not very many people can do, you know. And that just a part of it goes to his experience, but the other part of it is just like how he manages himself in a day-to-day life, and he's super disciplined, and he knows how to trust the process. He's got his coaches who have been there with him, you know, since Jump Street, and they got a really good thing going on between Marcelo Alonso and Coach Clint Radovic. He's been in my corner before too. Whenever I went up to Seattle, and those guys have shown me nothing but hospitality and love, and you know they're really solid people. I'm super excited to see them at this card in Montana. It's going to be awesome.
For you, man, you've had a lot of very important people in your life. One of which, your father, man, son of a preacher, man. Tell me, for you, what has that been like to have somebody in your corner that you know is just 100% always going to give you the right advice?
It's been tough. You know, what's crazy is my dad was actually my very first cornerman. The very first fight I ever had was for King of the Cage, and it went bad. It was a super necessary experience, especially because of like ever since I was little, I've always been super enthused with martial arts and everything like that. I've always seen martial artists as the real life superheroes. And so for him to be in my corner, like I was just a hungry little wrestler coming out of high school, and I was just like, I want to fight, I want to fight. No training camp, no nothing. And so we went in there, and he was in my corner, and he prayed over me and everything like that. And regardless of the loss, like the person that I went up against was a stud. He was solid, Mike Lavelle, and it was just a super awesome experience. And so to be here now and to still have his support, and you know he gives me a lot of advice for like mental and like spiritually and stuff like that. And so it's like, you know, I'm blessed to have the privilege to call him my father, and it's just been blatantly obvious that you know everything happens for a reason. And you know it's just I couldn't be happier, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They always show me nothing but love, you know. Even my mom, she cringes at the thought of me fighting, but she knows it makes me happy. She would much rather me have, you know, a wife and kids right now, but I tell her fight his wife, you know, I got to put my time and energy into that. And you know, she sees how happy it makes me, and so does my father. So they support me, you know, and so I'm very lucky to have that, as well as my brothers and sisters. They've always had my back. My nieces and nephews, they're like my own kids. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and the awesome part for you is you have two families. You have your actual family, then you have your gym family. Everybody
Yeah.
at Lucero, really, how they helped you get prepared for this fight?
Oh, tremendously. You know, I mean, you've seen the turnouts that we have. You know, Tuesdays and Thursdays is when we've been mixing it in with a lot of MMA. You know, guys like I mentioned before, Shane Mapatis, you know, Christian Molina, Mahai Madrano, even our more jiu-jitsu minded guys like Mikey Green and Matt Huffman, and then of course, you know, Dan Fordham, John Jimenez, Kevin Geyer. Like we have a who's who of these underground secret sleepers that you know that are always pushing me, and it's awesome. And so I have that there at Lucero's, and then over at the boxing club, you know, Andre Brown, he's tall, 6'4", like so
Huge.
reach, huge, solid right hand too. And
That's a
you know,
blue
guys
point.
like Noah Contreras, who he's a pro boxer,
That
he's
dude's a
2-0.
stud. That
Yeah,
dude's striking is precise and it's clean. Honestly, fuck Mikey Garcia. Okay, that kid's the future of boxing.
he seriously is, man. And I know it's only a matter of time before he winds up at the top and really getting all the notoriety that he deserves. Jose Leva as well. He's another guy, you know, he's super competitive as an amateur and, you know, making the jump over to pro. And then guys like Luis Sandoval, Dylan Armstrong, who's a young kid coming up. And so it's just like, I'm just blessed to have all these people who have all these different styles giving me this different looks, because I've seen a lot of gyms where it's like everybody fights the same. Everybody has the same approach. And it's like, what's crazy about out here is everybody treats fighting like an art, like it's supposed to be,
Hmm.
but they still have that dog, And so I'm just super privileged for the people that I have at my home gym, and then the hospitality that I get from the guys in Vegas, like Josh Quinlan, Marco Simmons, Kane Marzola, Chris Curtis, Johnny Parsons, all those guys. They've helped me take me so far, just in sharing knowledge and just really enjoying, the art, of mixed martial arts, and just how much
Enjoying the
everybody.
process.
Yes, we all come from different backgrounds, but it's like whenever you sit there and you're exchanging and everything like that, it's like it's beautiful. It's something that very few people get the privilege of truly experiencing and appreciating. So it's like everything has been so like just perfectly lined up. I couldn't be happier. I mean, it's the best.
For you, obviously, we have this amazing person. It's like a diamond in the rough having Professor out where we are. You have an amazing family over at boxing. Having Vegas so close, how has that been helpful for your training to obviously have these world class fighters just an hour and a half from you?
Right. And that's just it. So many people uproot their entire lives just to go to Vegas to really get that experience and own their path, and so to have the privilege of mixing it up with these caliber of fighters and really feel like, hey, I belong here, because for a long time, whenever it comes to fighting, it's one of the most vulnerable uh, things that you could possibly do. You're putting the
Yeah.
entirety of your being on display for the entire world to watch and criticize. Everybody's a critic whenever it comes to fighting, whether they ever fought in their life or not. You know,
Whether they
and
can
so,
throw a straight punch or not.
hey, you said it, okay? I will say they're getting better. Your punches are getting better, but no, exactly. Everybody's a critic, and so it's like for a long time, no matter how hard other people might criticize me, I was always my worst critic. Like I tell people, it's very difficult for somebody else to make me mad.
Hmm.
I usually get very easily mad with myself, and so that's where like,
And when you're
yeah,
woken up early.
especially without caffeine, yeah, that's a quick way to get me upset. you know.
Oh yeah, bro. I'm not
Uh,
gonna let you sleep at all on Friday night. Just go in there and murder Nick.
you better not. But yeah, so it's like I'm just, dude, I'm ecstatic, for I'm the happiest and most content while still being hungry and driven I've ever been in my life. Because there have been moments where I was complacent because I was focusing on like other things externally that I was like, well, it could be worse, but yet again, it could be better. Like so Eeyore,
Eeyore.
full ball, Whereas like now it's like
Well,
I'm
I don't
so
know, Pooh Bear.
I went from Eeyore to Tigger, bro. Like straight up, like oh, just hyped. I get,
Right?
bro. It. I feel like I'm dreaming sometimes, but it's awesome, man.
Now, you spoke about being hungry, and let it kind of transition us into our next topic. How's that weight coming along, man?
Beautifully. Like I said, after I woke up this morning at 190, and after training with Professor, I was down to like 188, and then I ate some food, ate real clean, and I shot back up to 191, and so I've just been kind of chilling at that. I mean, I got 5 days,
Hmm.
I've cut 15 pounds in one day before, just not even trying to cut weight, just training hard, And so it's like the last little bit, it's really nothing. It's just more so about, staying tuned in and just enjoying the process, being, positive, being happy, And so it's been coming along really easy, I feel sharp. I don't feel like I'm losing anything. If anything, I just feel like I'm getting faster, and my cardio has been through the roof. I've been pushing it so much. I know they're a little bit higher elevation over there, but professor was like, "Hey, you should get an elevation mask," and I've been using that for over a month and a half, and whoo, I almost feel like I like get more than a second wind. I almost feel like I'm getting high off of taking that mask off and just like, I'm like, whoa. Like that thing goes up to 18,000 feet. And so I got like at first, the first day using that thing, like even putting it past 4,000 feet, I was like, it's like sucking wind. But now it's like I'm sitting there and I have it maxed out. I'm like, does this thing go any higher? Like, what the heck? And so just everything's, man, better than I could ever ask for.
Billings, Montana is at 3,100 elevation. Yeah.
I'm gonna be breathing real easy.
Well, before I let you go, I want to give you an opportunity to give one last, statement to Mr. Nick Grammons.
Hey, man, all the training's done. No matter what the result is, take it in stride. No matter what, we live, we learn, keep training. This is martial arts. This is what we love. This is why we do it. So just go out there, fight hard. We're representing our hometowns, and let's do them proud. Let's put on a good fight.
Before I let you go, I want to give you an opportunity to give a shout out to your teammates, sponsors, loved ones, family, everyone that's really helped you along your MMA journey.
Hey, first things first, praise God, man. Like I said, dude, I prayed about this. We waited so long for an opportunity.
So long.
Literally, I was like, you know what? What's worse than
I was hitting up promoters weekly.
I know, and I was always giving you crap about it. And so, like, first and foremost, seriously, like, praise God. Next thing's up, business, of course. Want to shout out my sponsors, the Healing Center. Cheryl came in through in such a big way. Like, we wouldn't even be able to make this travel out if it wasn't for her. And then, of course, TKO Sports. My boss Jeff Kirk, he's helped me out tremendously with this traveling as well. And then Advanced Automotive and Tire, Ralph Cody, our very own purple belt, shout out to those guys, always showing me love. Native MMA Radio, of course, you're always helping, promote everything. And, obviously my friends and family, everybody at Lucero's, everybody at Mojave Valley Boxing Club, Wham Fight Team, Syndicate, Johnson Nasona is going to be headlining the card. Dude's a beast. And just thank everybody for tuning in, watching. They can check it out on the Fight app. It's going to be the 20th of this month, so next Saturday. I believe it's like $20 to
it's $20, and then it gives you like a $10 credit for the next Fusion Fight event. So I mean, also you can watch this fight, and then you can watch Dario's next round fight for only $10.
Yes, sir. I mean, you can't beat that, and it's going to be like 15 fights. It's definitely worth the money. So thank all of them. Thank my friends and family, everybody at the Kill House. Just truly blessed, and I appreciate you for having me on, man.
Of course, brother. Fusion Fight League this Saturday night, March 20th. Johnson Nasona, Mikey Zidler is the main event. But before all that goes down, Dario Castillo and Nick Grammons step in there for their first round matchup of the Fusion Fight League Rising Star Tournament. Like I said, the winner gets a beautiful 3-fight contract and that middleweight strap. Dario Castillo, thank you for joining us today, man. And I can't wait to do this again.
Most definitely. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, man. You have a good night.
You do the same.